No, it does not include their utilities there, but it does include, no, their food is separate. They have to pay for that. So there's a, the 4 or 5,000, whatever it is just the room cost. Then you do the board, add another couple $1,000.
Good afternoon. This is Amherst County Services Authority Board of Directors meeting. It's April 7th, 2024. We are starting about 12 minutes late. I blame myself. I was in the middle of some work and just completely got my head into it and lost track of time. And then I didn't have flashing lights in my car like one of my other esteemed colleagues up here, so I had to obey all the speed limits
I was on time, though.
in order to get here.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Marine. Yes, sir. All right. So we are now called to order. Number 2 on the agenda is approval of the agenda. So item A is,
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
thank you. Motion by
Mr.
Mr. Pugh. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is citizen comments or concerns.
No one
Anybody
has-
signed up to speak?
No one has signed up, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Therefore, we'll move to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are going to be approved all in one motion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I may have goofed just a little bit there. Mr. Casillo, I voted to approve the meeting minutes. I just want, let's let the minutes show that I was not
You
just,
abstained from that.
well,
that-
no, we just passed them all at once, but
It shows that you were not
I
there.
just recognized I wasn't there.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
And I don't think we need to record anything in the minutes. I just wanted to make that point.
Okay.
All right, number 5 is our action items. Oh, by the way, I should have said Mr. Wood and Mr. Wade are very sorry that they couldn't be here today. Both of them were called away on business. I think Mr. Wade just at the last minute. I hope he's here for the meeting tonight, I'm not sure. Item number 5, action items. Is this the one that you would like, how would you like to address these, Mr. Castillo?
Richard is getting printouts of a couple agreements that I had seen go into the package, but somehow they didn't make it there. So they're on their way for you. Mr. Patel is here. Would like to address the board with his perceptions of what his version of a development agreement should be, developer agreement. And he also apologized for not attending the previous meeting. So going up, Mr. Patel.
Do we need to wait for those attachments to come? Should it be more prudent to do the operational budget first, and then come back to that, or?
Well,
do you think?
let's just flip-flop that.
That's perfect.
I can do the operational budget.
I just want to make sure we've got
No, that's
everything
fine.
in front of us.
That's
So
fine.
maybe-
That is fine.
Is that, you have any objection to doing B first? Okay.
All right. Dealing with the operational budget for fiscal year '25. It's worked smoothly before. There we go. As I have in the past meetings, just give you some updates as to where the budget is going. The goals have not changed. The goals for this have not changed. Our cash position from the treasurer have included the March data. I want to point out that in March, our cash in the bank operating account has $5,413,000. $254 at the end of March. We're in great position that way. What I did learn through further research is that the line BB&T Money Market, that is the debt service reserve fund sitting there. It a little over $500,000. It's creeping, as a money market will creep right now. The money market SunTrust account is the rate balance fund. If indeed we need to, if we have some issues where we need to have a significant rate increase for one thing or another, we can utilize this fund to bridge the time to get to a reasonable rate if we need to. So that's what those two funds are for. Missing from this is the SNAP interest and SNAP principal account, 2023B, which was the gateway funding. That's $2.5 million plus an interest account. So that is where we are with that. We are making progress utilizing enterprise fund accounting. I'm working with Stacy on that. She's not here to defend herself, but I really appreciate being able to work with her. I came in with my reports, and she really liked what we're doing. So I felt good about that. One thing our goal 1A was no rate increases this year, because we're kind of in this nebulous world. We're still trying to figure out exactly what our cash and our income statement positions are. So we're working with that in mind. Still trying to cover inflation, which was 3.4% for December. The credit card convenience fee, I brought that up previous time. We're evaluating the process and the cost for that. Some of the costs that we're receiving are, in my opinion, very excessive, so we're looking at different ways to make them more reasonable for the authority and mostly for our customers to be able to pay their bills in a timely fashion without having to drive everywhere. Looking to increase our salaries, still looking at 3% COLA and a 4% merit pool. This way we're covering inflation plus being able to reward for performance. Our health insurance costs had gone up. We found that we could offer more than just the one plan that had been historically offered, which was the Key Advantage Extended Plan. I've got a slide here that I'll show you where we're researching that. It does save employees that want to subscribe to that plan 20% in premiums, which is a good savings. We want to make sure we're meeting our debt service payments, and I have done a lot of research just to find out exactly when we are owe what for what debt instrument. Meet our capital improvements needs that we currently have, and also plan for the infrastructure master plan needs, and at least leave some funds available for that as well. We met with Davenport on Public Finance Group on April 26th. I shared the proposed budget plans with them, the balance sheet from the Treasurer's Office and other, and the current state of the county's financial software exchange. They are making some progress with it, from what I understand, but we're looking probably at the beginning of the fiscal year before the authority becomes the guinea pig for the general ledger and accounts payable portion of it. So we'll know our revenues and expenses that way. I shared with them what the infrastructure master plan, the target for that completion is early fall of '24. So I want to make sure that we knew what we needed to do with it, with everything. We discussed inflationary increases versus no increases. While we don't want to lose ground, I honestly do not feel comfortable going to our ratepayers and saying, I need money for X, because I don't know what X is. When we know what X is, then yes, we will make plans to do what we need to do. But until that time, I think we need to hold the rates as they are. And they concurred with all our evaluations. So that was good stuff. Would you pass those out, please? Thank you, Richard. So, here's what we've researched on our health insurance program. This is with the state's Key Advantage Local Choice programs. The Key Advantage Extended, the KAE, is what we have historically offered to everybody. It shows I show various different deductible plans that there are, and the last one was a high deductible health savings plan. That actually offers the biggest savings for everybody, but with the Key Advantage 1000 plan, it basically our staff determine whether they feel they're healthy enough and they're not going to need health insurance or a lot of health insurance needs, and they can purchase this plan that has still very good benefits, but has the higher deductible, the $1,000 deductible compared to what we currently have at 100. So, but it showed the savings to everybody for that. The operating budget, I did have the December.
May I ask a question?
Sure,
So the intent is to offer multiple plans?
we're offering 2 plans this year.
2 plans, and then the employees will have a choice. Great.
They have that choice, yes.
Good option.
Yes, sir. I was hoping to be able to offer the true high deductible plan, but trying to get, we were evaluating this at the very last minute for everything. And so to get the health savings account information straightened up and planned for correctly within the budget, we didn't have time to do that. We may offer that this next upcoming year, which will save even more. For the overall operating budget, looking at adding the December balance sheet information from the finance department, we're looking at coming in at total revenue of $5.1 million. And our expenditures are going to be actually under budgeted expenditures of $3.1 million, leaving $2 million overage. This FY25, while our income is not projected to go up significantly, our expenditures are, because we're going to be accounting for the true business expenditures, including depreciation, which is $1.25 million, making sure that that is being expensed the way it should be. But it's still a balanced budget of a little over 2,000. Again, a little better breakdown of the revenues. Significant is our interest. Now, some of that interest is going to go away with arbitrage. So I'm not, right now it's showing up as interest income. Next year, I'm only budgeting $200,000. Mostly that is going to be true interest earned on our funds, because we are not really doing much with our funds right now. The basic cash account is your basic checking account, not earning any interest. The others are money market accounts, which are not earning much interest. There are instruments that are authorized in local government finance to increase that return, so we'll be working on that. The other thing I wanted to show is we've been looking at our bill consumptions and the trends of that. It's by our doing bi-monthly billing. You can see the sawtooth, depending on which group of books gets billed at what time. Also, there's some in here where there was word I'm looking for, estimate. Certain routes were not run because of one reason or another, so the bills were estimated. So we're looking at, but even though we're adding customers, since 2018, you can see the slow downward trend for billed consumption. And that's mostly due to conservation, various fixtures that are put into homes, particularly all the new homes are using Energy Star fixtures. And as our costs go up, even though inflation is 3.4%, I go to the grocery store, it looks a lot different to that. Everyone is looking at their their expenses, so we increase our costs, there's also the counter on that. On the expense items here, again, the significant increases in the administrative and general expenses, and that's where the depreciation and some of the debt service interests will be charged, because that has not been charged in there. We are paying it, but it was not being budgeted as such. So, looking at our capital, back up. What I'm planning for this upcoming year, as far as capital projects, is to have a balance of at least 1.5 million. So as we receive our information for the master plan, we can start maybe moving forward with things rather than waiting a full to the end of the next fiscal year. So those are some of the projects we have lined up. On the revenue side, we've got depreciation, our small balance, connection charges, the James River Bank stabilization, that is at $2 million, because even though we've expensed some of it, we have not received that as yet. We'll be doing that. There's the Gateway ARPA funds as well that we need to spend, and the Gateway sewer financing. It all totals up into the revenue side, and then the various projects that we have, master planning and all of that. So here's our debt service. I had no idea what debt service, and Stacy was very helpful in getting me some of the backup documentation for that. We have the 220 VRA pool, which was 1.75 million. That was the funding that was obtained for the emergency spillway project. The 2020 VRA refund was a refund of a 2012 bond issue that has 9 years remaining. In 2029, that one goes away. There was also another refunding in 2021 that is a 15-year refunding that's close to $6 million. And then we have our two 2023 issues. One is the James River intake, which we put on hold. We made arrangements to be able to do it for other projects, but it's currently on hold. And that payoff date is the March of 2026, and the same with the Gateway. All told, we are looking at $19 million of debt principal and roughly $430,000 of interest payments cost on those issuance.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So where's the debt service payment coming from? I guess I was back a couple slides.
It's currently coming out of our cash account.
Okay. And we are budgeting for it now.
We will be budgeting for it in this upcoming year. Yep.
We're budgeting for it.
That is correct.
Right. So what is the sort, it says coming out of our cash accounts, and it's coming out of our reserve, just our normal revenues.
Yes, sir.
So in '26, in April, in the 12 months after March 1st, 2026, we should see revenues in excess of expenses of $175,000 a year for those 12 months, barring no other increase in expenses. So this just go off the books, and
It will help us.
the source is there's not a capital source in that, it's all on revenue. Okay.
Correct. It's all on our ratepayers. So,
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
that's all right.
A lot of information that you just presented?
And I will send this to you like I have the previous ones, and as well as the spreadsheets where this data came from. So I know Mr. Wade said he really enjoyed getting into spreadsheets. We will continue, I will continue.
I like the thought of holding the rates flat. When we talk about that publicly, or I think it's very important to to explain to the public why they're flat. And in a very, as simple as way possible, but basically saying, we had a substantial increase in the prior year to cover anticipated debt services. Due to the scheduling of those projects, we feel that there are no rate increases for this next coming year, or something like that.
Correct.
That, it's a bit of a reprieve, but we still have a bunch of work to do. But I agree with you completely.
In doing it this way, we also are not required, because we're not changing rates, we had the issue where we had to do the public hearing for rate increases and the timing of all of that. We avoid that this season. Now, as we really learn where our finances are with the new software, if indeed we see, we have the ability to do a mid-year rate increase, if that's what is deemed necessary. I don't see it myself being deemed necessary, but we do have some options.
Well, yeah, it is a excellent reprieve. Over the last 5, 6 years, there's been substantial increases of 5, 6, 7%. So it's nice to see that it's going to be maintained this year.
My goals, long-term, is if there's some major project in that changes things. But I would like for us to make sure that we're maintaining, at least meeting the inflationary pressures.
That's a hard job.
I know.
I would like to better understand, not now, but, or I'd like you all to assess the need or the requirements of having that rate adjustment fund, and if that even needs to exist, or if it can go away just to simplify our bookkeeping.
I will work on that. I figured out what it was. I'm making progress.
Thank you for figuring out what it is.
So, any other questions on the budget?
No action items at this
Not
time?
at this time. At the June meeting, I will be bringing forward a formal budget for you to approve.
All right, this is May, so that's next meeting.
Next meeting, yes.
All right. No,
Okay.
that's- All right, well, let's move back. If there are no other questions from the board, let's move to 5A, please. And I'd like to thank Mr. Patel for his patience there. I'm glad we've got everything in place in front of us.
Thank you, Sam, for attending, and I'll turn the podium over to you guys. Oh, sure.
Go. I thought
It's on now.
I thought it's a little light. Just yelling, just.
Same there.
Yes, sir.
So I think you guys were just given a copy of the Cornerstone Infrastructure Agreement that the city of Lynchburg executed with the developers of Cornerstone. And I can give you a minute to take a glance at that further if you'd like. I think Norm's passing out some copies of the master plan that will be coming before the Board of Supervisors again here in the next 30 days or so. Yes, sir. Sure. So it's a pretty short agreement. You guys can see it's a couple of pages long. And I want to start off by just saying kind of one overall comment. I'm doing what I'm doing because I believe that it's a better way to live. I believe that we can create a really amazing community in Madison Heights, and I think we can really spur some really good, positive economic growth in our area. I'm actually not asking you guys to adopt the thing that's in front of you. The thing that's in front of you, in my opinion, costs the city of Lynchburg a fair amount of money to do. I'm not asking for reimbursement. I'm not asking for money. What I'm hoping that you guys will allow me to do is pay for, install, build the infrastructure but then also not charge me to connect to the infrastructure that I just built and paid for, which is how the model currently stands. So the way the model currently stands is I'm kind of getting hit twice. I'm paying to do all of the work, and then I'm also paying to connect to my own thing that I just built and dedicated to the county. In Cornerstone, you'll see the city of Lynchburg reimbursed 50% of those expenses, in addition to not charging them to connect to those things that they built. So, you know, I want to be fair to everybody. I don't want to be a drain on my community. I'm not trying to take advantage of people or use tax dollars that should be used in a different way, or fees that should be used for other things. I'm just asking for what I think is a very fair resolution, which is, you know, again, let me build the thing, just don't then charge me connection fees and meter fees to hook up to the thing that I just built and paid for. That's it.
Okay. I need to get my head into this a little bit more. Well, first off, I have not studied this, but I love the concept. I love the idea. I love what you're doing for Madison Heights and Amherst County. And I am fully supportive of opportunities for development, opportunities for people to live, and opportunities for people to work in in Amherst County, in the beautiful place that we live. And I applaud you for going forward with this.
Thanks.
Yeah, I wish you all the success in the world on it. The dilemma that I think that we're facing, and I'm speaking for myself, not for the board, is we are a service authority, so we are subject to providing water and sanitary sewer, domestic water, fire protection water, and sanitary sewer for the residents inside the service area that we have been defined. We are an independent agency from the county, and so we've got different missions. At the city, you've got a utility department that's embedded in the city, so that the city has some flexibility as far as the city's goals and objectives, such as economic development. I perceive that economic development is not a fundamental goal it's not what we're doing. We are supporting economic development. We're servicing economic development. We do so at the county's request, but we've got to be able to a standalone sustaining entity. So what you've asked for is, you know, it's a reasonable request on the surface, and if we're a unified group. And by the way, there are many reasons why we're separate entities, most of which has to do with investment and debt service and how we get debt, which makes us more flexible than the county can be sometimes. When you're talking about installing the infrastructure, yes, that is great. That is what developers tend to do, to install the infrastructure to provide that network. How many connections is it roughly? Or how many thousand gallons a day are we projecting roughly? Do we know that?
I have that information, but it's
Ah,
not
right.
right in front of me.
Is it 300,000 gallons a day? Maybe?
Maybe. There's
Well, this,
15, about 1,400 living units.
okay. We'll just call it units. So that's 1,400 units that the existing system outside of your development now has to serve. We need to make sure that we've got the fire flow and the fire protection going to that. We need to make sure that we don't run out of water somewhere else going to that, and that we've got the production capacity to keep up with that additional demand in that area. That's the purpose of thank you, the system development fee. It's not paying for the infrastructure that you put in, it's for everything behind it to make sure that we can afford it. And I believe it's fundamentally required in order to support the debt service payments for us to keep investing in our system, as Mr. Castillo has demonstrated by going through this master plan, and Mr. Martin has talked about by his concerns about the Route 29 corridor and our ability to support additional development of that area through water capacity. I think those are all valid concerns, and the master plan is going to help us get there. Thank you for being ahead of us. I would think that the authority's been behind for the past couple of years. We're catching up as fast as we can, but we recognize we're behind. But it's hard for us to say we can give you that because that's more of an economic development term. Excuse me, it's hard for me to justify providing that incentive for you because it's an economic development concern. I would be happy to have a conversation with the county if the county is willing to justify economic development for it, like the city justified it as economic development, then maybe there'd be an agreement between the county and an authority for some help there, if the county agreed with you. But it's hard, if we were able to give any developer a break, then we would have developers lining up. And we are not, I don't believe that we have the capacity to assess or direct where we want economic development dollars to be spent in the county. I'd rather respond to what the county believes is a proper economic development investment and then work towards supporting the county's goals and objectives, because in our heart, we are a service authority. We serve the county and we serve our area. Yes, sir, and then I'd love these two to comment if they want to bring in.
One more piece of information.
Yeah.
That Mr. Patel's development and the others that are known, all that data is included in our current planning efforts, our infrastructure master
Oh,
planning.
good.
Yes, we've included all of that, and so that is part of the modeling that's going to be done, that's underway right now, so we can make sure that we can serve, or if we can't serve, what do we need to do to be able to serve?
We have to serve it.
Yes.
Because the last thing I want to do is get in the way of the progress of the county, and I'm worried that we're on the cusp of that right now. All right. Sorry, I may have stepped all over you all's toes, or?
No, I think that was well stated. I don't really have a lot to add. I know that I kind of wear two hats, we're on the Board of Supervisors as well. I think you made a valid point when you talk about, if you do this for X, do you do it for the next people that come by, and everyone will be lining up? I go back and look at, a situation that happened just in my family where they wanted water to be extended down to their property. Well, everything from the property line to the road is responsible of the individual or the house or the development. They had to pay for the extension to come down the road out of their own pockets. And what I don't want to see us do is put the onus on our taxpayers and everybody else in the community by providing some of these agreements that we've seen before. I was actually voted against the agreement that was made for the Gateway project. That's still in limbo because I think it sets up just what we're seeing here today. Well, you all are helping the Gateway project here. Well, what about Mr. Patel's property? Why aren't you doing it here? And I think it sets a precedent that now we're starting to reap. And I think we need to tread lightly here. Of course, you're more of an expert than any of us sitting at this table. I would, as opposed, he knows what he's talking about as well. But anything that puts the finances in jeopardy, the Amherst County Service Authority, we need to pay special attention to, and that's why I'd lean on you and the other members of the board. But I would just reiterate what he said. We hope the development continues. It looks like there's quite a substantial number of units that will be added as far as apartments go. So, I guess,
The apartments actually haven't changed a lot.
Well, there's-
From the last plan, they're just moved more to the front and
oh,
then
there's 5 of them now
built
as opposed to,
apartments.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there was, if you remember from the old master plan, there was a big cluster of buildings onto one side. So what we've actually done is taken the buildings and used them to kind of shield the power line. And then the buildings in front of the power line are condos, they're not apartments. So those will be for sale versus for rent. So, and we're using those to catch grade. So,
Is it less commercial space now?
I think it's actually about the same commercial space as it was before. I think before we were at 75,000 square feet, and I think we're right somewhere right in that same ballpark.
All right, so, Mr. Castillo, let's kind of go to the beginning. So, we got a project, and it's required to be on public water and sewer. So typically, the developer would come in, build the lines, right? Would we reimburse them for anything?
If we needed it oversized for future growth, we would be paying for that oversized portion of it.
Okay, but if not, it would be up to them.
Typically, it is not, in my
Okay.
experiences.
And then, once they build it though, would we be charging them availability fees to connect to it?
We would be we would charge the system development fee, which covers all of the infrastructure, and then whatever cost there was for making the actual connection. And in this particular case, Mr. Patel, his contractors did the connections, so there's no additional connection cost. I'm providing a meter, because we just wanted to get that squared away.
Yeah, and this might be a good kind of segue into that. And so, a little bit of my frustration and kind of getting here today is I did have a series of conversations with Tim's predecessor, Bob, and he, quite frankly, promised me a lot of stuff. And I know I know that he didn't really part on very good terms, but I think it's worth just mentioning to you guys. I mean, I have emails from Bob where he said, "Hey, listen, I'll make the connection," which I paid $30,000 to do. He said he would do that, so that's what Tim was just talking about. Bob also told me, "You go get a water model done, and I'll put in a water loop." Well, here's $15,000 for a water model that I did because he told me to go do it, so he put in a water loop. And so a little bit of the frustration here is I keep doing these things that I'm being asked to do, and then it just seems like we have a change in what we're calling fees. We have a change in leadership, and now we have a different thing that's going on. And again, I'm not here because I'm asking you to reimburse me the $35,000 for the connection to the water line that I was promised in writing by Bob he would do. I'm not asking for reimbursement of the $15,000 study that I got done because Bob said, "If you do this, I'll put in a water line for you." What I'm asking for is just what I think basic fairness. I'm going to install tens of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure for Amherst County and provide hopefully 1,500 domestic customers who are buying water from the Water Authority, who are contributing to the cost of upgrading infrastructure over time. I mean, every bill that you guys send out has a reserve component in it. I mean, you're depreciating equipment in your budget. You're setting reserve accounts where you're budgeting for the cost of future improvements.
Future replacements.
Future replacements, right. That's part of the fee that everybody pays all the time. I just don't want to bear all of those fees. I mean, as the model stands right now, I'll build you 2 new water plants with the connectivity fees that I'm going to pay on top of building all of the infrastructure myself and then giving it to the county. It just seems super unfair.
All right, but I'm a little confused. So I asked Mr. Castillo, I said, typically, you would build the line, right?
Right.
Service Authority wouldn't reimburse you for the line because you need it for your project. You said a serviceability fee? What was it called?
The system development.
System development fee.
Would be
How much
charged.
is that?
It is $3,000 for a single unit. It's all based on meter size.
Okay.
So to put it in perspective, I think the system development fee for the apartment buildings is like
$125,000. $120,000, which was significantly lower than the former method that was used,
Sure.
well over $800,000.
Okay, so the system development fee,
System development fee.
And then, are there other availability fees?
There are no other availability.
If
The
you install the
availability-
connections?
Yeah.
Which
Now,
you're doing?
there is a,
Which I'm doing.
there is,
So why, okay, so what are you asking for?
I'm
us
just
to look-
asking that the system availability fee, am I calling it the right term? No.
system development fee.
I'm just asking that the system development fee be waived on connecting to the things that I am building.
So,
Okay.
ask a question.
Oh, you're the chair.
All right, you said approximately $800,000 of a system development fee?
That's what it was before.
Before
Before Bob.
the board developed with Richard. you guys-
Currently, what is it currently?
Currently, it's $120,000. based on-
$120,000 between
A 2 meter, a 2
one,
inch.
two,
A
three,
a 2-inch meter.
For
one,
each
two,
building?
three, 4, 5,
I'm sorry,
6.
3-inch meters, what you.
3 inch meter.
what
So
you
these
needed.
first two buildings, it'll be 100,
It's based on a 3-inch meter size, based on our schedule.
So how much per building is what I'm trying to get to, for apartment unit? Not, and it's, sorry, let me rephrase that. How much for, how many meters are we talking about?
1 meter,
1 meter.
one 3-inch meter is going to be serving the first 2 apartments that are under construction now.
One 3-inch meter will serve 2 apartments. Okay,
That's correct, based on fixture counts,
got it.
AWWA Manual 22,
That's $125,000.
25,000, yep, that is correct.
And how many units per apartment building?
that's 54 per building, total of 108.
Every development I've worked on, that's just been part of the site development cost, unless an agreement has been reached with the governmental entity through economic development typically. But as a developing engineer, it's just been part of the project, and then the developers figured out that aspect. But a lot of times, it just becomes, and I see your lot counts here. That infrastructure that you're paying to put in will be part of your lot development cost in the long run, just like the curb and gutter and the park space as well as the parking lots. So when you cut out per unit, your cost per unit is still not, for the water infrastructure, your cost per unit should not be excessive, should be pretty reasonable. That's me doing some back of the envelope math, just looking at it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
You're cool.
Can I ask, so, Mr. Castillo, what is let's just take those 2 buildings, $125,000.
$120,000 is the.
$120,000. What do you see that paying for?
It pays for the infrastructure that gets the water to that facility, the water treatment plant, the tanks, the water mains, the sewer collection system, the sewer pumping station that sends it to the treatment plant that we're partial owner of.
So, okay.
It's about a little over $1,000 a unit, which is what?
It's less.
These days, what's that, a couple doors?
Sure.
So-
But, it's not just single-family homes. I mean, it's also commercial space. Commercial space will require meters where, now I'm taking $120,000, or if I need a 4-inch meter because I've got higher water needs from a commercial application, now I'm in the $180,000 range for the next bump up in a meter. And that's now spread out amongst a few commercial tenants. It's a little bit easy. The math is not horrible with 108 doors. Yeah, you're right. $1,000, $1,000 and change. But it's not just apartment buildings that are in here. There's single-family homes. There's lots of commercial space. Hopefully more commercial space.
Well, the single-family homes will be their own, just the 3/4-inch meter or the 5/8 meter.
That's the 3,000 and the 4,000.
Yeah, the 3,
So it's 7,000 per house, is that right?
no, just one of those.
Is the system development fee per individual home is $3,000 for water and $4,500 for sewer.
when
So
you-
7,500 there, plus there's another fee, right, for the meter?
Whatever the actual, the $1,500, the connection fee.
Okay, so now we're up to
But-
9
But
grand.
if you make the
Now we're at
connection.
9 grand.
But if you're doing the connection, I'm not charging you for the connection, just like those
Yeah.
are the kind of things, as a developer,
Yeah.
we'll do what's right.
So I'm at like 9 grand per house to do all of the work and then hand it over to the county.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yet when we, and Turner, you were a big part of kind of when we rewrote these fees, right? And based it on meter size, and it did drop them down, correct?
Yes, sir.
Isn't this the project we did that for?
Yes, this actually started back when Trenton Warner gave us a presentation from her profit long before the development began.
But we did it for this project.
Yes, I was here for that. And then when we went through the exercise, it was all based on equivalent residential units. So one equivalent residential unit was $3,000, so a 3-inch meter would be, 48,000, so divide that in, that's how many residential units or how much more capacity a 3-inch.
So Mr. Patel, I guess my point is, you knew these fees were here. So what I'm hearing, I'm hearing and I knew, what the purpose of the fees are is to make sure that we can get an appropriate amount of water to you, maintain our system on the outside, right? And to be able to remove the sewage and treat it and get rid of it for you, maintain that system, all right? So you understand there are costs involved in that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And,
So it's not, it's not that you're just connecting to pipes you put in, it's the cost of
Yeah.
getting it to those pipes that you're
yeah.
putting.
No, I do, and I agree, and I appreciate the board doing what they did in terms of adjusting the rates, and certainly did know what those were going into them. But also, at that time, Bob is telling me, hey, I'm gonna put in the water loop for you. So there's, there were pretty large capital expenditures that I was told the county would do, or the service authority would do. Actually, what Bob told me is, I buy the pipes, and y'all will provide the labor to install them. So he said, go get the water model done, which I did. And then he said, you're gonna have to go get a engineering plan or whatever, I don't know, whatever it's called, a utility design, and then we'll install them for you. And again, there's emails, there's all that stuff where he promised me these things that now are not being done. So, I hear what you're saying about, I knew what the availability fees were when I got into this, but the economics of now building a line that I was told I wasn't gonna have to build, the $50,000 of connectivity fees that I was told in writing I wouldn't have to do, the, things like going and getting a water model done. Some of that's part of why I'm standing here before you. I'm not just
Understood.
crying over spilled
And-
milk,
And I can't speak for the rest of this board, but while I'm not willing to necessarily waive any of those fees, but if you can show the documentation of Mr. Castillo, I would love for him and encourage him to share it with this board at the next meeting, because I'm a firm believer in carrying forward on what we said we were going to do. Whether or not he had the authority to do that, I don't know, but I'd be willing to look at it.
And again, like, I'm not trying to take advantage. I just
I
feel
don't
like.
think you are.
Like,
No.
and Tim has the emails from Bob. I've provided those to the service authority. I have a copy of an email from Bob where I went back through, and just confirmed with him.
I have the email from.
I think I forwarded you the one
February-
from Bob.
February.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I just think,
After we,
I think they should meet and look at that
Yeah.
issue separately.
Yeah.
and
I'll be glad
Bring it
to
back.
review that.
All right, thank you. All right, so
Not a problem.
let's conclude this one more time. I just want to reiterate how much I like this project and how much I appreciate what you're doing. And what I think Mr. Martin was alluding to is, it's not going to surprise me at all if we have to learn in the next year, year and a half, that we need to replace the water line in Business 29 there. And that's gonna be an expensive project, and that's gonna increase fire flow, it's gonna increase water pressures for you, and it's gonna serve that development. And that's what that system development fee is really paying for. I would encourage you to talk to Mr. Castillo about what Mr. Martin brought up. I am hesitant to think that the former executive was operating inside his authority, but we'll take a look at him and we'll learn something. And I would also encourage you to speak with economic development in the county, if they would encourage or support any economic development initiative to help offset the costs, which we would gladly work with them to fund. But as a organization, we can't play favorites, honestly, as much as we may like to, because it's a really cool project. So thank you for
Thanks.
expressing that. Thanks for sharing this. Glad to see some familiar faces on your team, and I want this project to be an absolute success for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good day.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 6. Let me get back to my agenda. The information report. All right, so that's contained in our packet. Is there anything you'd like to highlight on the information report, sir?
Just a few brief things. One is with the James River Bank Stabilization Project. The authority is partnering with the county on the Saraloo Christian Trail Extension Project. We're already working in there. We're doing the survey work. We're doing the riprap, bank stabilization, and all of that we are funded for. In their project budget, they had also allotted some monies for that, and there needed to be a county match. So we're basically providing the authority, because we're already doing this under grant funding, we're providing that grant, that county match, so it doesn't affect the county funds, doesn't affect our project in any way, and we have a win-win here, which doesn't happen all the time. So happy to be working with the county on that project. Let's see, the Lakeview project is completed. We've seed and straw, yay.
I love to hear complete.
There's some pictures showing that. Some of our grass is actually beginning to grow, so I'm very pleased with that.
So that section right there, it will be maintained, no tree growth or nothing like that on that line? You could see it going down, was it Lakeview? No, by the post office, right? Okay.
So we will be maintaining our right-of-ways as we do the other right-of-ways. The Grand Creek Reservoir Improvement Project, I want to make everyone aware that on May 30th, the Department of Conservation and Recreation is hosting a Dam Safety Awareness Day event at our reservoir site. Our site was chosen basically because we received the award for the Best Major Dam Rehabilitation Design and Construction Project. So we met with their PR people earlier today. They really enjoy the site. And so on the 30th, if you are available, probably around 11 o'clock, and I'll keep you all informed of that. We'd love to have you be a part of that as well.
What day is that again, please?
Pardon?
What day was that?
It is May 30th.
May 30th. All right, thank you.
May 30th. I believe they said 11 o'clock is what they're shooting for. The secretary is planning on being there. The head of DCR will be there to speak as well, so it'll be a good event.
Let's get, so Thursday, May 30th at what time?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, and the location?
Location is at the reservoir dam itself.
Can you send a reminder out?
I'll be sending reminders out on that. I'll send you an appointment. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Lou. Then we're slowly moving forward with our lead project inventory project. That's going to be moving forward a lot faster, particularly when our intern gets out of her classes. The automated meter reading program, we've gotten clearance from the National Radio Quiet Zone group. So
Okay.
that's moving forward.
Where's that gonna be located? Do you have a specific area?
Route 130.
Okay, along where you got kind of high speeds, where
We
it's,
have high speeds, and it takes us at least 2 men in a truck to safely read that area.
Okay.
We're going to be gaining some efficiencies with that as our pilot program for that.
Excellent.
This one is important. We met, staff met with DEQ, the county authority, county/authority attorney, DDH, dealing with the Seminole Plaza, trying to move that project from where it's been stalled. Mark said he was going to be reviewing easement documents. I'm sure he's doing that in his spare time, enjoying every moment of it. To look at who's actually a responsible party for that. DQ has promised to give us an answer if their Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund can fund the project without us actually owning it until it's completed. I did submit a request for a planning grant because that is a troubled area. So we can actually get someone to develop it, so we could develop a formal PER to see what the best solution for that area is. And then we're going to be meeting again on June 4th, bringing everybody up to speed on that. Really good news is we hired a Class 2 water operator, Chris Zivalongi. He previously operated with Stafford County. He joined us on April 15th. And Patrice Baker joined our office team on May 1st. She was with the city of Lynchburg. So, and she's very, very pleasant with our customers. We've got 2 good hires here. Unfortunately, Tyler Hodnett has chosen to do something else, mostly due to salary. That's what I've been told. His last day is the 10th. We'll be having a exit interview with him just to find out exactly what the issues were. We had an all-team meeting on May 1st. It was the beginning of open enrollment for our health insurance. So we took that up, and with 2 different options, we wanted to make sure that everyone understood what it was we were offering. And also took advantage of having them all together to give them an update on our strategic plan, where that's going, where things are with our upcoming budget. Uniforms, you see everybody in gray t-shirts now, so we have a uniform now. There's even a picture of the team, all in their gray t-shirts.
yeah, I appreciate that because, we don't see the people behind the scenes that make it operate every day. So I appreciate you including those pictures. Maybe if we see them in public or out and about, we'll know they're part of the team.
They are part of the team, and a valued part of our team.
They make it go every day.
So, tell me more about the uniform.
Well, we have a gray t-shirt with our logo on it that all staff has. And they are to be wearing out in the field. We also have safety vests with our logos on them when they're working beside the roadways or any place like that. We have hard hats with our logos on it. We're trying to get ourselves looking like a team.
Just a general comment. That's been one of my pet peeves here. I'd pass a crew and I couldn't tell who they were working for or whatnot, and figured if they were digging on a water line, it must have been ours. I love the idea of a uniform. I think that brings a sense of professionalism. Hopefully it'll help instill a sense of pride with the team and ownership, and which they probably already had, but if, you know, it's the way you look and the way you carry yourself, and I think carries.
It's all good stuff. We're working on building that team.
I think that's great. And I love the picture too.
And that is the team. And we actually did the picture before they got all the pizza on top of them shirts, so it worked out well.
Where are you?
I'm taking the picture.
Then it's not the entire team.
The important part of the team.
Oh, I see.
The important part of the team. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions on anything else in the
Any other questions?
information?
All right, at this time, are there any other citizen comments or concerns? All right, hearing none, are there any matters for members of the Service Authority? Mr. Martin?
No, sir.
Ms. Pugh? All right, again, Mr. Wade and Mr. Woods express their regrets. I would like to say, or just to tell the members of the board, we are coming up on the one-year anniversary for Mr. Castillo. If it hadn't passed, but you know, around June timeframe, we want to make sure that we do our evaluation of his performance. So I'll be reaching out to you all with just a quick evaluation that Mr. Castillo will share with you when we get that feedback and go over with you. I'll just say publicly with, you know, from my impression, it's been a refreshing and welcome, you've been a refreshing and welcome addition to the team, and I like the changes that you've brought to the authority. I think they've been very positive. So thank you for your leadership so far, more to come.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else from the crew? All right, at this point, we are adjourned. Thank you. A little loud, sorry.
That's all right, you getting excited.
Yeah, so frustrated with myself for not. Shut that.